There.
My name is Abina Johnson, and this is Focus on Liberia. Hit it! From Cape Mount to Cape Palmer, mountain back to Atlantic Ocean, Obomi Hills to Pocondre, to educate, elevate, and promote. Talk about home affairs, hey, in diaspora, current affairs, hey, reliable information, history, talking about culture, hey, politics, education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of On Point. If it's 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock on the East Coast, it is On Point. We got information that we are having problem with our streaming. So if you are in radio land, or you are in television land, or you are in streaming land, and you've seen us, please put us in the comment section. We don't know whether we are going live on Facebook and YouTube. Please give us an update on where you're watching us from. Facebook is telling us that we can't stream live. We don't know whether that's true. So please give a thumbs up. Give us information on where and how you are watching us. But today we have news. Guys, please go ahead and share the show. Share the show. Get involved. We'll read your comments. You have questions? Send it by me of comments, and we will read them, we'll address them. Today we have a jam-packed activities or agenda for you. We want to look at, Liberia paid $1.4 million for used military equipment from ECOWAS, while consumers and the people of Liberia are suffering. Was this money well spent? The ANC suspend top officials. Some say it's after the fact. And 3, what's the significance of a political party in Liberia? Are lawmakers independent of their parties? And then number 4, leadership crisis deepens in ALCOP. What's next for ALCOP? ALCOP is the political party that was founded by the late Nkrumah, Haji Nkrumah, former information minister. And for some reason, for the man who used to head the propaganda branch of the Liberian government, he allowed his party to be branded the Mandingo Party, and hence have not gone anywhere, have not done anything, because everybody looks at ALCOP as only a political party that belongs to the Mandingo people and nobody else. They were branded as people who conduct events in the Mandingo language. They recruit in the Mandingo language. They take pride in being called the Mandingo Party, as evidenced by their rallies and everything else. How did a propagandist allow himself to be branded or his organization to be branded that way. And he didn't debunk, he didn't fight. And as of today, everybody knows ALCOP as the Mandingo Party. But the breaking news in Liberia is the fight between the Republic of Liberia, Joseph Yuma Boakar's administration, and Edwin Melvin Snowe. That is the latest, that's the breaking news. That we will discuss first because it's very important. Honorable Edwin Snowe has responded to what he believes is an attack on his character, his integrity, and on his person. And we will read what the Minister of Information or the Republic of Liberia said or wrote through the Information Ministry. And after we read that, then we're going to read the response from Honorable Edwin Melvin Snowe. We want to say hi to Dr. Booty. He will not be on today. I think he got some family issue to address. And whenever it comes to family, we here at Focus on Liberia say, God first, family second, and then the nation. So, welcome, Honorable Eastman. Can you hear us?
Yes, loud and clear.
Excellent, excellent. So, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and share the show. Call everybody in your network that it is on point and it's going to be hot. Right off the bat, Honorable Eastman, we got issue with the Republic of Liberia versus Edwin Melvin Snowe. One, Melvin Snowe sees this as an attempt to get rid of him by branding him, basically charging him with treason.
Wow.
And he responded. We are going to delve into that. So let me introduce our partners, guys. Please go ahead and share the show. In your network, in your sorority groups, in your fraternity groups, in your own network, in your own chat room. And let us invite folks to get involved because this is going to be rough. When you're traveling in the air and the pilot tells you, return to your seat, wear your seatbelt. We're going through some turbulence. That's what it's about. Maybe I need to keep this for the middle of the show because this one is heavy. So Jimmy Eastman, here we are. Let me read the letter first, then we can choose to delay. But this is what it said from the Ministry of Information and Tourism. And in my Prasaki verse, it reads thus. I can't believe I'm quoting somebody in the Prasaki. It says, the Republic of Liberia, Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs, and Tourism. Statement by the government of Liberia. And it says, at Capitol Hill, Monrovia, May 24, 2025. The government of Liberia condemns recent irresponsible and inflammatory statement made by Bombay County Senator Edwin Melvin Snowe, who is also a member of ECOWAS Parliament, in which he vowed to use his connections at his sub-regional body ECOWAS to ensure the failure of the government of Liberia led by President Joseph Yuma Boakai Sr. Mr. Snowe declared that he would do everything possible, including using his connections in ECOWAS to make the Boakai-led government to fail, even if it means discouraging foreign direct investment to Liberia and making the country ungovernable and unstable until he, Snowe, becomes president of Liberia. The government of Liberia reminds Mr. Snowe and other officials who may hold similar thought that no citizen is licensed to undermine his or her own country and government by vowing to use ECOWAS internal institutions or other international organizations to either promote their selfish ambition or plot to destabilize or destabilization. The government of Liberia calls on all sub-regional, regional, and international organizations to ensure that such plan by Mr. Snowe and his collaborators to undermine and destabilize the Liberian government is not actualized. Liberia continues to remain a champion of peace, security, and economic integration, wherein the Minor River Union, the Economic Community of West Africa States, ECOWAS, African Union, AU, and the broader international system. The government assures the citizens of Liberia that it has the capacity to, at all times, meet its obligations to the Liberian people and will do it can to succeed, do all it can to succeed, keep the country safe, ensure stability, and prevent those wishing to cause chaos from achieving their intentions. The government concludes by urging the Liberian people to work continuously with and lend support to their government to meet their needs and build a prosperous nation. Signed, the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs, and Tourism. Honorable Eastman, this is serious, depending on how you look at this. Is this a distraction? Is this a means of distracting the people from a terrible economic system, lack of job, lack of opportunity, the failure of this government to meet all the promises it made? Is this now the way to find a scapegoat? Or is Edwin Melvin Snowe a rebel rouser that wants to overthrow a legitimately elected government for his own purpose? Your take, you the diplomat here, you can read between the lines. You know what is going on. Your take on this emerging issue.
Well, first of all, when you read the release, it fails to say where that Senator Snowe made this announcement. It only says that he made recent irresponsible inflammatory statements, but he doesn't say where he made these statements, and it doesn't show any evidence of this being a mere allegation or provide proof by citing witnesses that heard him making these inflammatory statements. I think for the sake of politics, this it's irresponsible. If you're going to accuse someone of such a tremendous offense, at least you have to have some evidence to corroborate what you're accusing him of. To simply say, "Oh, I look at Nangbe and say, well, Nangbe, you said my hair was big and I was ugly," and I don't say when he said it, because the first thing we ask, when did he say that? Where did he say that? Who heard him say that? You know, and Mr. Snowe is a seasoned politician. He's maneuvered and manipulated his way through all these years of politics, being once the speaker and then leaving and then coming back as a representative and a speaker. He knows his way around. So it's questionable what they're trying to do when they accuse him of this. Definitely is a power play, and it is signed Ministry of Information. Again, nobody is taking responsibility for this statement. No, who? Was it the minister? Where was this information given? I think what if we continue down this route by not um, being very articulate and providing requisite evidence of the allegations we make against our people, I think we're in for a bad spell. So I have too many questions before I even can ask Mr. Snow about his involvement in this.
Mr. Name, what you sent me, one of the government agents wrote and said, the government of Liberia has responded to the two troublemakers in the Republic of Liberia. Everywhere they go, that problem and trouble continue. And that is Edwin Melvin Snowe and Honorable Hassan Musa Bility. Mr. Nambe.
Yeah, listen.
Are you seeing here that these two people are people that the government see may have some resources and influence to push back against them 2029? So you want to kill this baby in its infancy? Is that what's going on here?
It sounds like it, but let me say good afternoon to all, and thanks for joining us. Good afternoon as well to our listening and watching audience. You know, I don't know about the trouble that Senator Snowe is being accused of, but I think Musa is causing good trouble. What Elijah? Is it Elijah Cummings or John Lewis?
John Lewis.
Call over here good trouble. If causing trouble means going to Margibi and constructing a road that has remained unattended for time immemorial, for pledging to construct a high school in Margibi, for constructing and connecting roads in Nimba, and pledging to do likewise in all of the 15 subdivisions of Liberia, then that's good trouble, and I think they should let him. But I'll say this: I read the two communications. I read the communication. First of all, I listened to part of what Edwin Snowe said, and his attempt to come back and even clean it up. Right? Snowe is an opposition politician. He said he wishes this government doesn't succeed, so that it will be a one-term government, one-term presidency, and gave him the opportunity to run for president. He has never made a secret. He intends to run for president. I don't think he said he wishes ill on the Liberian people. He made it clear. I know it's a delicate balancing act he's playing. He wants the government to do well by the Liberian people, but by the same token, he doesn't want this government to succeed to the extent where the people will re-elect them. I think that's within his right to say as an opposition politician, and I think he's being taken out of character here. And so I think the Ministry of Information, that unsigned letter, it seems like an anonymous letter, but if it is legitimate, because the initial posting that he made, he said he was investigating the authenticity. So he came back with his formal response, which I guess implies that he has been able to verify that this indeed is a communication from the Ministry of Information. So I think they're overreacting, And before I pass it on, the one thing I always remind our governments from my time on this planet, probably even before me, when the government begin to go after opposition people like this, it almost always backfires. What you end up increasing, their premium, because now people begin to empathize and sympathize with them, and they get more popular at your expense. If you believe legitimately there is cause for concern here, yeah, I can understand that. But issuing these paper tiger, these toothless press releases and these veiled threats and all of these things, I think they don't do anything to help this government. So I hope they will come out to address what they mean here. But the charges they are making, they are pretty serious, and I'm certain Mr. Snowe, he's going to take every mileage out of this, and and convert it to his own political capital. I'm sure would delve much deeper into this, but I understand from his communication, he's cutting short his official trip and coming back home to address this matter. So we'll see.
if you can see here under the post, I got these are the two amigos.
Two amigos.
They got the two amigos picture right underneath the release. So here we are, Mr. Tower. We have we have a government that want to make sure the two most powerful threat don't give them a chance to fester, don't give it a chance to get started, to get its leg, chop its leg before it gets going. Is this what's going on here?
Okay. So in the first place, I heard and I keep hearing all of this multi-ability achievement everywhere. And that is a problem that we have in Liberia. Representatives and senators were never elected for them to carry on no personal building bridge and building roads. If that is done, okay, but that is not what they were hired for. These are people that pass bogus concession deal, pay themselves over the top, loot the country, go ahead and put laws in place that they handle development funds. Then when they take all the same money that you can't separate, that you can't really draw a line on, and then they start building some little footpath, and then we want to come and praise them. This is the problem that we have. What they're supposed to do is to put in place policies and procedures that allow the country to develop and to advance through real institutions. Not all the demigod stuff when they have personal and hidden agenda. And this is the problem that we have in Liberia with this so-called fake and corrupt democracy. How long would it really take us to recognize this stuff? And when it comes to the Edwin Snowe stuff, yes, if Edwin Snowe made a statement that he wished that the Liberian government does not succeed so they can get kicked out of power, then yes, he is actually advocating against the Liberian people. Because he, as a lawmaker who is one of the most corrupt, who after they made all this money, will sit and say he don't think they even make enough. Living, Edwin Snowe was nobody in the trash. Whoever he is, they're calling him powerful and everything is based on looting of the country. So instead of him saying the policies that are put in place, I don't think it's going to work. And this is going to, but he wish. So these are people that have nothing to offer. So you see, for me, that is why I say in this situation, I have nothing to say. These are crooks and criminals fighting over the looting of the country on who is going to be in charge at some point. Look, gentlemen, it's becoming really excruciating for me. When I came here 1 year ago, we can't even establish a real mission. This is on point. This is not a whole FOL. This is on point. We have to be able to establish a foundational position on what really is our problem and what are the different facets and elements of this problem. And then we try to address things from that position. But what I see here is everyone all hold on to one corrupt element after the other, one corrupt individual support and one corrupt group and one corrupt tribal group, and we get caught up into all this gossip. So we come here, I've been here for 1.5 years. There is nothing useful going on here. We just come here and waste 2 hours. 2 hours is a lot of time that we can't say for sure. Everything that we are discussing here, what progress we have made, what we have actually established on how to move forward, some policy position, nothing. So that's why I'm getting tired. And I'm going to really think about it, because it's not even, I can use my time for something else.
Thank you.
So Jerome, if I may get 5 minutes, 5 seconds rather.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I really feel sorry for my brother here. He's a very tortured man. He lives in the diaspora, but he hates the people in the diaspora. He comes on FOL every Sunday and makes very significant input, but he hates the fact that he's coming here to make an input. How do you live with yourself, Tao? I don't get it. You're conflicted. Thank you. I just wanted to say that. I'm sure I'll come back and.
Well, let me come to Tao's rescue a little bit.
We got 5 minutes.
Give me. I don't even need 5 minutes. Just let me come quickly. First of all, I understand the frustration Mr. Tao is saying, and all we do is talk. I've been criticized by expert social. I mean, what they call national security experts, and all they told me, we are full of nothing but talk. We don't do anything. And we sit down here on this program every month, every day, and talk. But we are doing nothing about changing our environment. And that is significant. But Mr. Tao, what I will add to you, it is because we're sitting here in the diaspora and making your money instead of going back and making significant contribution. It can be monetary. You don't necessarily have to be a political culprit there, but you can do it by your investment. So, yeah, it is frustrating, but it's because we're not doing anything, and to talk is not enough. So let me come to his rescue. I feel him because I felt the same way too. That's why he saw me and took a little bit of a pause. Yeah.
Thank you. Anthony Gay and Mr. Dukley here, they are nephews of Joseph Wakai. They just don't know how to look. He came on, he fell down twice. Dukley will come here. He had to struggle for a whole hour to just get on. Anthony Gay was a young man. He the youngest in this group. Look, he can't even come on. He coming upside down. He fell. He woke up. He fell again. But Mr. Dukley, Mr. Dukley, here we are. You are accusing somebody of treason. If I'm an opposition, is it my duty to praise you, to pray that you succeed when I want your job? The reason people change government is because the government is ineffective, incompetent. Okay? And I want your job. You expect me to come and praise you. I want to say it, but I just wish my opposition just dies or just disappears or something like that so I can take his job. Isn't this what it is? So why are they accusing these people of wanting us to fail and government should make sure that their dream don't come true? What is wrong with the government?
Well, before I can even respond to that, I just wanted to say this. Look, I think Brother Tao is his contributions are very, very meaningful and very important and insightful. And I don't think we should diminish this because, look, FOL is a platform that educate, elevate anything Liberian. And I think in that role, FOL has done well. And so when we come here every show, we come here to opine based on our area of expertise or our understanding of the issues. I don't think we should look down upon what we do here as nothing. Look, there are people who get valuable information from this platform. There are people who get educated from this platform. So I don't think we should be dismissive of what we do here. I mean, I totally agree with the frustration, but I mean, you have to take into account we are in the diaspora. And short of what we are doing here, what else can we do? So as much as you are frustrated, I get your frustration, and but I don't think your frustration should lead you to the point of saying that you want to withdraw from this platform. I mean, you are a valuable panelist on this platform, and I think we can all acknowledge that. And your contribution is really valuable, just so you know. So consider what FOL is. There are other platforms that do the same thing that FOL does, but you can compare them and see how neutral we are. We are not leaning to any side, and we say it as we see it. And I think that's a valuable contribution to our community and to Liberia at large. With that said, look, Mr. Gayman, I think I kind of heard part of a snippet of the recording of Edwin Snowe when he made that comment. I'm not even sure because I think I saw the snippets on Spoon TV or something like that. I'm not sure, but I heard a piece of it. You see, I would categorize his statement to be unpatriotic. What he said that despite being an opposition, you can't say something like that. It's irresponsible. You know, but you have to take all of this into the context of this is all what you see here. This is all the run for 2029. And so this is probably his first salvo at the ruling party. So I'm not surprised at that. Trust me, there's more to come. I just think that this salvo is a very bad one. It's a very distasteful one. It doesn't matter if you're in the opposition or not. We all mean well for Liberia, whether you're in the opposition or not. So to suggest that I want them to fail so that I can run, it's just, I find it to be irresponsible. I mean, no responsible politician should be making comments like that. Having said that, I also think that the government overreacted to that statement. I mean, I don't think statement like that rise to the level of treason. It's not a treasonous statement. I wouldn't say that. I don't think anybody who follows Liberian politics would tell you that that statement rise to the level of treason. It's not a treasonous statement, at least in my opinion. And you can check the opinion of many people who are adept at this politics. So you know, this is a game. This is a political game that Edwin Snowe is playing with the Unity Party government. And so again, like I said, this is all heading to 2029, and I would expect to see a lot more coming from Edwin Snowe now that he has made part of his intention known to the people. You know, Brother Tao, I would say this when it comes to Musability. You know, I think over the time that I've observed Musability, he has exhibited talent. He has shown to us that he is a maverick when it comes to politics. He knows how to play his politics. I mean, I don't want to get into all the allegations, all the things that he has done, but I wouldn't condemn things that he has done practically that relieves some of the hardship of the Liberian people, that brings some direct benefits to some of the Liberian people. And so whatever his intentions are, I wouldn't want to even get into that. Again, this is not, anybody can see Musability is also looking at 2029. But all these developmental activity that he has undertaken in those places, he should be commended for them, as little as they might be, as insufficient as they might be. But I think for what they are, we should actually applaud him for that, for doing that. I mean, people that were there before him, what did they do in those districts? Representatives who were elected in those districts, who get funded for that district, what have they done for those districts? And Musability comes in and he does this, he does a bridge here, he does school here. I mean, in Liberia right now, we need each and every school that is there. We do need them. We need each and every bridge that is possible there. We need them. You saw how broken the country is. You saw how messed up the country is. So for somebody to come and alleviate at least 200 people or 300 people of the need to have a school, I think it should be commended. I don't care about his intention, if he's intending on 2029, which is the case here. But I mean, what he has done is something that benefits some constituents of Liberia, and so he should be commended for that.
Excellent.
Jerome, if I may, please.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Look, I agree with Brother Duke and Brother Tao in some part, especially Tao, that our legislators should make laws that will spawn development. I totally agree with that. But I think we can do both. I think Musa can use whatever resources that he has at his disposal to help our people while he's advocating for a change in the way things are done in the legislature, which he has pledged to do. So I don't think there's any foul. I don't think there's any foul or any harm here by doing what he's doing. I would disagree with my brother Dukle and Tao. What Snowe said has absolutely no bit of treason in it. It is a democracy. He has a right to look here in the States. Here, Mitch McConnell is on record for saying he wanted Barack Obama to be a one-term president. Michelle Bachmann is on record. This is a democracy. I don't hear Snowe advocating for violence. He's not advocating for an overthrow of the government. Yes, it is his right to wish this government not to succeed, to give him the opportunity. What is wrong with that? This government should be concerned then with proving him wrong. I think that's what they should be concerned with. But the nonsense about writing here and threatening people and talking foolishness and all of that, they're failing. And this is a distraction. They are failing and they don't know what to do with themselves. And they're looking for some kind of talking point. And here we are talking about this foolishness when we should be talking something else. So I think the whole thing is a waste of government resources, a waste of time. This government is failing and they need to wake up and smell the coffee.
Mr. Eastman, here we are a few days ago. This snowman who have been tough on this government from day one, from the day of the campaign to now, surprising to everybody, Mr. Namwe, you saw Snowe in the bosom of the president, sitting with the president, having lunch. And don't you think the operative of the party are concerned that, listen, this man that was wishing I was down for all of a sudden now he whining and dining with the president, and those who fought with him, we have not had almost 2 years. We have not had time to even sit with the president one-on-one, and this guy just catapulted over everybody, and he whining and dining with the president at the president's expense.
Yeah,
don't you think?
He's eating their lunch, and Henry Costa is eating their lunch too, and they need to figure out a way, you know. So all of this displaced anger and all of this distraction, they need to get off their rear ends and get the people's work done. That's what they need to do. I see Mr. Tawo's hands up, so I'll give him a chance to come.
No, 1 minute before Tawo go there, Mr. Eastman. If you work hard, okay, like Costa was saying on the other show, I work my butt off to bring this government to power. And other people are eating off my shoulders. Who am I to go defend government? It is not my job. This man was cussing, well, not cussing to say, but we're talking about was it currently swearing the government, okay? And everybody said, look at Snowe, what he doing. All of a sudden, the president called him to lunch, having photo ops, shaking hands, drinking champagne. I guess I'm just saying this, okay, eating caviar. And those guys are sitting over there. Now we saw the Fiscal letter. This is the first time I've seen a ministry sign a letter. Not a minister, not deputy, nobody, just have you seen a ministry? The building sign a name. Go ahead, Mr. Eastman.
Thank you.
Your volume is low.
There is. I think I would take a stance, a page from Mr. Tawo's book. The system we got allows all kinds of things, to happen. It allows all kind of people to manipulate the system, and nothing happens to it. When they were trucking in voters and all those sort of things, we should have taken alarm, but we did nothing. So this is some of the reasons why nothing happens, because we do nothing when the real problem, we're confronted with the real problems. So today you have Mr. Snowe and his, what's the other guy from Bummy? All of them known as the corruption King Kong. All of them sitting as prominent senators. I don't call this a broken system. I call this system has been abused. This system has been adulterated. That's what has happened, and we're not trying to do anything to correct it. So, Mr. Snowe, knowing the ropes, he knows how to play the game. But there's also another dynamic that I want to mention here. You see, Musability, one time we had a conversation. The people, we say we reconcile, we're not reconcile, because I will vote for anybody who is going to love Liberia and be dedicated and not be looking at tribal. A lot of people, they only look at tribe, and they make their decision based on their tribal orientation and disposition. They don't believe some people should be given, no matter what they do, good or bad, they will not give them a chance. I think we need a reconciliation, because everybody, we're supposed to be supporting those who will do good, but we also need to be able to point out when somebody is manipulating the system, being corrupt, and chastise them. But we are not. We just allowing these things to happen, and so our country is in terrible shape. I see it.
Mr. Tao,
Yeah.
Mr. Namwe, Honorable Dugley, and Eastman, you see, a few days ago, this was Snowe in the president's office at his home, having a great time.
Mr. Snowe is good at photo ops. That's a photo op. He does it purposely.
Listen, here you go again with the vice president, the Senate pro tem, the president. Okay.
And his comments predate these photos.
Of course. So here we are. The United Partisans have all reasons to be concerned. This kind of proximity to power belongs to the insiders. We are talking about the kitchen cabinets and the confidant of the president. This is not how you receive a guy who cuss your mom, cuss your pie, and all that other stuff, even though it doesn't rise to that level. But a guy who say, I want you to fail. So now, the building called Ministry of Cultural Affairs, for the first time in your history, in our history, a building is signing their name on a piece of paper, because they didn't say deputy minister or the minister. They said Ministry of Information. And you saw that signature, logic of building, Ministry of Information. So don't you think somebody within the government is rattled and trying to make this guy look bad to draw their attention? Mr. Taiwo, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. So look at what happened here. This is what I'm saying. Just like the whole issue that I came here and said I didn't have any position, because these were just a group of criminals fighting to see who's going to control budgets and committee rooms. At the end of the day, I was told no rule of law, and all these people don't follow no rule of law. When they read to loot the country, what happened? In the end, when money exchange hand, the same COFA that they fought for. So it's the same thing. That's the problem with this democracy. We have to look at it. It is a divide and rule. They come in, they make all these statements on a long party line. None of this stuff is in the interest of the people, Jerome. So whether he is close to power, so that's why maybe people who are Unity Party kitchen cabinets are trying to maybe bring a wedge between him and the president. What is that for? What is in that is in the interest of the Liberian people? It's about who get close to the purse for them to put their hand in it. That's it. So, but look, this is what I want for me to point out. Nobody said that a representative or a senator or any government official building a bridge or a road is wrong. I mean that it cannot be recognized, but that should not be allowed. The reason is this: the government is the country, and every infrastructure development with respect to bridges and stuff and roads and all of these things, the money for it, that is what the government run. And if these guys have access to that money, what happened to the county development funds? If we start trying to recognize people based on all the individual stuff, what happened is that individuals who want to occupy this position circumvent trying to build structures and implement policies and institutions that will actually create a development plan that is not depending on individuals that can actually run whenever they are out of there. This is a problem that we are having in Liberia. So we should start trying to praise them. We say, okay, hey, Musa Ability, or hey, Snow, yes, we see what you did over there. But we want to see the policies and stuff that you guys are putting in place so that this country can better develop and really function. That is all that I'm saying. I'm not saying that Musa Ability built a bridge that if it alleviates something, but we can't praise that. These guys have too much of the country's money. They have their hands on it. So if I go ahead and spend $200,000, but I hold on to $1 million, and then I'm praised, we have to call them off for that. And look, with the Snowe statement, what I say and what Dr. Dukley pointed out, it is irresponsible. There is one thing, you're not here for you to praise the opposition. But when you have a government that's supposed to serve the nation, and you say that you want the government to fail, and you think that the only way that you can come to power is through the failure of the government, which then affect the very foundation of that country and benefit to the people, that is nonsense, really. You don't have to wait for them to fail. No, you come up with ideas. And the government on their own side, there is nothing, to my brother Nambe, yes, there is nothing treasonable about that. No, he's not even wrong. So the government is to the Liberian people. But because what fear is in it? If the government know that their own policies are good and their intentions are good, what Snowe says shouldn't matter, because then they will succeed if they actually have true intention. So yes, Mr. Nambe, I agree with you that there is nothing treasonable about it. He didn't do anything against the government. So the government they just I don't know what they're doing. That is why no real person name is on the letter, because it's nonsense. But in all, what you are seeing here is a group of people fighting among themselves who trying to hold on to the country to loot it. That is all that it is. And we have to recognize these things for what they are. Let's cut to the chase, so that we're not getting caught up into all the nitty-gritty about their personal gains and statements that don't benefit the country.
Okay, I want you to listen to this. Look, I want you to listen to the doctor, the doctor version of this. Listen.
I want all the human beings dying in the country, to suffer. I want hardship in the country. How you can God. I want all the human beings.
Who's that?
I want the country to suffer. I want hardship in the country. How you can God. Listen, I run from what I see.
This is the doctor. This is not what he said, but
we can't hear it, Jerome. You gotta play it louder.
Okay. Hold on. Let me see here. Oh Lord.
Human beings die in the country. I want the country to suffer. I want hardship in the country. How you can God. Listen, I run from what I see. I want all the human beings die in the country. I want the country to suffer. I want hardship in the country. How you can God.
You heard the doctor where he says he want all the people in the country to die. This is not what he said, right? But this is what he said. Let me show you what he said now. I come in.
Turn it loud, put it in the speaker.
Yeah, it's
We can't hear. We don't understand what's going on.
You're not hearing this?
Huh? Not loud enough.
Nope.
Number, you can't hear him?
But send it to me. I'll play it for you.
I think I'm hearing it because I've heard it before, but it's not very.
If you send it to me, I'll play it.
Yeah,
okay, let me copy and send it to you. It is so funny that let me see here. Let me send it to Jimmy. Okay. I'll send you one. Let me go back. If you get it, let me know.
Okay.
Okay.
You send it to Messenger or to?
Yeah, send it to your telephone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, what you were hearing there is the doctor tape that he says, I want all the people in Liberia to die so they can do this. And nobody in their right mind knows.
You should have sent that into WhatsApp or something, but anyway.
Okay, I'll send it through WhatsApp. Let me send it through WhatsApp.
Yeah, we can move to the next topic. We're already going 1 hour.
Yeah. Okay, we let me go to WhatsApp. Ladies and gentlemen, hang in there because we want you to get the actual picture. So when you go out, you listen. Okay, Jimmy Eastman, I'm sending it to you. Okay. So you can see what we are talking about, because you need to have access to the information so you can go ahead and make your own determination. Because when someone tells you that this is what the guy said, so you can have access to the actual information. So I am about to send both to Jimmy Eastman. Hopefully he received them while we discuss, while he upload these videos, so we can. But let's go to the letter that was read. The letter that came from Edwin Snowe in response to what we just read. And this is what he said. It's a long letter, but it was dated the 25th. And it's come from the Liberian Senate, obviously from his office. And they say here, press statement. Senator Edwin Mervyn Snowe Jr. responds to the unfounded and malicious accusations by the government of Liberia. It is with deep concern and profound disappointment that I respond to an official statement issued by the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism of the Republic of Liberia, which falsely attributes to me inflammatory and irresponsible remarks intended to undermine and destabilize the government of Liberia. This statement was issued while I am currently on an official assignment in the Kingdom of Sweden as part of a mission of ECOWAS Parliament. The timing and content of the accusation are not only inappropriate, but also reflective of a disturbing and deliberate attempt to damage my reputation and cast aspersion on my integrity as a statesman, representative of the Liberian people, and a responsible member of the opposition. Let me state unequivocally, and for the record, I categorically reject and condemn these allegations are entirely baseless, malicious, and politically motivated. I wish to state for the record that at no point I have made any statement that could be interpreted as inciting panic, promoting instability, or threatening the democratic order of our country. Neither have I leveraged my network in ECOWAS, internal institution, or international organization to orchestrate the destabilization of the government of Liberia. That's from Edwin Snowe. Mr. Eastman?
I'm ready to play.
Okay, go ahead. We are waiting.
I can't want him to be a one-time president, so he doesn't do better than his group. Do better. I pray he doesn't so get moved from power. I can't want him to be a one-time president, so he doesn't do better than his group. Do better. I pray he doesn't so get moved from power.
Okay, now we're gonna listen to Let's listen to the other version that they are responding to, which is when you look at this and listen to that, you will find out that it has been doctored. Can you play that so we can listen?
Yeah, be going on. Let me get it. I gotta take it one by one.
Okay, great. So, Mr. Tower, Mr. Edwin Snowe has responded that what he's smelling there is politically motivated because it is baseless, it is malicious, and it is intent to spread fear to make him look bad, destroy his integrity, destroy him as a politician before he even starts running for president. That's his take on what's going on here. Your take.
To be real frank, integrity and all this stuff and Snowe, they're not even in the same bracket. So that's the first thing. So yeah. But we have to be very frank about these things. These are guys who Edwin Snowe, what has he done in his life? Nothing other than to attach himself to the state coffers, loot as much as he can. And so for somebody with this kind of record that is actually open and known to be talking about integrity and all of this stuff, my brother, man, look, let us move on to something else. I have nothing to say.
Mr. Tower, what that has to do with him being accused of treason?
Yeah. That is what, remember, I addressed it here. I said there is nothing treasonable about what he said. If he said it, I said it.
Yeah,
here.
I read it to show that.
I said it. There is nothing treasonable about what if he said it, it's not treason because the government itself, like we say here, I would say if he said that, then it's only against the Liberian people.
Okay, let's listen.
I will pass shit in the country. How you can government is listen, I run for what I say. I want all the human beings die in the country. I want the country to suffer. I want pass shit in the country. How you can government. I want all the human beings die in the country. I want the country to suffer. I want pass shit in the country. How you can government is
There.
Can you play a little louder?
Louder? Okay.
Okay.
I'll play again.
Hold on 1 minute, Tower. Mr. Eastman, can you make it a little louder?
Okay. Hold on.
Mr. Nambe and Mr. Dugley, I want you to listen closely as we address this tape.
I'm gonna play the loudest.
Okay.
Here you go.
I want all the human beings die in the country. I want the country to suffer. I want pass shit in the country. How you can government is listen, I run for what I say. I want all the human beings die in the country. I want the country to suffer. I want pass shit in the country. How you can government. I want all the human beings die in the country. I want the country to suffer. I want pass shit in the country. How you can government is listen, I run for what I say.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, but let me complete my position. Yeah. I don't think Snowe himself would be done for him to say that I want everybody to die and all of that stuff. So we know that. But if what Snowe said that he wanted the government to fail and he wanted to be a one-term, I don't think there was anything treasonable about it. But I think like that the Duke said is immature to want to you don't have to pray for the government to fail in order for you to put forth your own platform on what you want to do for the Liberian if you want to run 2029. And the government itself, because somebody said they want you to fail, if you have good policies and you have good structure in place, somebody saying something is not going to make it come to pass. So they themselves, they see that they don't even have any intention of doing anything well. So yes, to an extent, Mr. Gayman, what you said, they are not trying to create a distraction by grabbing onto this, but a politician or somebody who claims to be honorable shouldn't even say that they want a government to fail. You can point out why they might fail because of this policy and that policy and these things. You can point those out, but not to be praying. If he said that, that is what I'm saying, because from what we see from that tape, so what's really true and what is not, right? So, but if he ever said that he wanted a government, he shouldn't say that. I mean, in my opinion, actually, he shouldn't say that because that is against the Liberian people. But there is nothing treasonable, I don't think, about it.
Thank
He,
you.
he gave his position on what he wanted to do so that he can come to power.
Great. Mr. Nangwe, you, look, this is what I like about politics. Can you imagine someone saying, you want the country you want to run, you want everybody to die, and you will be the only person living in the country. So who you gonna be running? He says, I want everybody in the country to die. I want everybody to die so they can fail. So does it even make sense when these guys are doing the propaganda video? Do they really sit back and say?
I first of all, the parts of this clip has been doctored, so I don't know exactly
Yeah.
what part of it is actually what he said. But I know I listened to him when he was trying to explain what he meant, and I agree with Tao and the others who think that to even said it the way he did. I think it's irresponsible. I agree, but that really, I don't think this is something that, like Tao is saying, is treasonable. It is not, and this is where I differ with the government. It's a democracy. We all take our ideas to the market. If the people like what you're offering, they will buy it and they will elect you. I think the government should be happy that Snowe, who is trying to, replace them, is speaking in the way he did. I think it's something they should be happy about and probably cut jingles about it and whatever it is. It's a democracy. But to come out and write the man on the taxpayers piece of paper that we are buying and write this nonsense about he's advocating violence. There's nothing violent in what he said. Absolutely not. There is nothing. I think the government is grabbing. I said here they're feeling. Gabriel Boyman and other people calling me dumb. Let me be dumb, but I am I'm certain of one thing: this government is not succeeding. That is a fact. They're not, and they're looking for excuses. They're looking for distraction, something to cover up from people taking notice and talking about their foibles and unforced errors and failures. They came in here with a lot of promise. I've always said that, and they have a lot of people in this government who have capabilities. They just can't seem to get out of their own way and do the right thing. They've disappointed a lot of us, including myself. I'm disappointed. They came in here. This is especially the head of this government. He's been in government forever. He understands what governance means. He understands how to tackle problems. He understands how to do the budget. He understands all of that. Hopefully he does. He's been around this governance thing for a very long time. He was vice president for 12 years. He was the lead opposition figure in the country for another 6. That's 18 years at least. And yet he comes into the executive mansion, like he just got out of bed. He doesn't know which way the door is. He's still finding his way. And they don't want us to talk about it. They don't want us to talk about the failures about. Go down the road right now, go and change $5. The rate is now over 200. I mean, where do I start? They're failing all around us. They're breaching the law. They're appointing people to tenure position and dismissing people from tenure position. We've already talked about this at length. He sat down here. The Capitol building got burned under his watch. You know what I'm saying? He had the capacity to help us resolve this problem in the Capitol, but he never did. He sat down there and sat down. Why? Because it was playing to their favor. All the chaos in the Capitol building gave them the opportunity to do whatever they wanted to do, including passing the $880 million budget in record time. These are all the things they're masking. That's why they had all this chaos happening at the Capitol building until the place got burned. And this is where we are. And they don't want us to talk about it. They're coming to sit down here and waste our time over Snow's statement. Is that something we should really be talking about here? It's a distraction. It's an excuse.
Great. Honorable Eastman.
Yes, sir.
The government say here their failure to create jobs is because of Snowe. Basically, they are saying here, Edwin Snowe say he will use his connection in Ecuador to make worker government to fail, discouraging foreign direct investment to Liberia. So here we are. They say basically the reason there's no employment, no company coming, is because Edwin Snowe is telling the international community to not come to Liberia. This is what he's saying. He said those were his words. Can you imagine this? Your take on this?
Well, it is clear that the Ministry of Information is not embarked on a campaign to actually boost the country's image, the economy, and the administration. Instead, they are going down this rabbit hole, going after statements made by opposition politicians. I don't think that has any relevance in bringing the country to a significant development point. I don't think that the administration has failed as being implied here. I know they have a challenging task ahead, but they signed up for it. And I know there are inherent impediments to development. The level of corruption that is in the country that has significant drag on how far you can bring the country up. But at the same time, this is what you signed up for. So we expect to see some development. Right now, remarkably, we see some roads being progressively built. We noticed that electricity has become more consistent. A lot of people say it's due to the rainy season. I disagree. I think the MD there has used his knowledge of the CLSG and has connected to it. It should have been done a long time ago. And again, it will always fall back on having the right people in the right positions. Now, I understand you have to, grant political favors to those who supported you. But if you put in non-technical persons in the technical position, you're doomed to fail. I have seen we have sent MDs and whatnot to conferences and things, and they don't. It's just like somebody speaking Chinese to them whole day because they don't understand a thing about the industry. What is the use of doing that? And that's all we point out. If we understand you got to play politics, but don't do it to places where you allow your friend who supported you in the last election operate on your mother, do hot surgery on your mother. No, that is the same way some of those technical positions cannot be done by anybody else besides somebody who's an expert in the area. And that is those are the little mistakes they're making. And just what Brother Nambe was talking about, the undermining the tenets of our democracy by replacing tenured positions. If you agree to this is you was in power and this is the thing you established, now why now undermine it? And for politics, I think we need to. So those are the mistakes I see that being made by this administration, and it will come to bite them or hurt them later on if it continues, because the Liberian people, they're quick to get tired. And you can mask them, blindfold them for some time, but in the end, when they feel you can't, they can go with somebody else who will do better for them, then they're gone. We have seen this in the last election, so it's interesting.
Great, Mr. Dukley. Here we are. The senator is saying he's cutting short his trip in Sweden to come home and deal with this issue. Is it that serious, or he also making a hill out of more? It's political season now, so is he taking advantage of this blunder to come and look like a hero?
Yeah, I think the government took the bait. So what do you expect? I mean, I think the government is also capitalizing on this as a distraction from their dismal performance since, taking state powers. And I've said it on this platform before. Usually, the head of state, the president, is the one who set the tone, and everybody else follows. But you don't have to dig any deeper to see that despite the numerous years of experience in government, there's no track record of Joseph Walker of doing X, Y, Z. So if one was looking for some guidance as to what he has done in the past, despite he was managing director for what is it, LPMC, not LPMC, some
He's been managing director everywhere, dude. Is LPMC? Yes. LPRC? Yes. Ministry of Ministry of Agriculture? Yes. He
That's
has
right.
been everywhere in government. In the
Yes,
military, he's a major. He's been everywhere.
Yes, and in all those places, we cannot find any track record of something significant he did to turn around those places or to bring something to those places. So, since he's the one who's supposed to set the tone, and he is dismal in everything he does, you don't expect to see any better from his lieutenants or his kitchen cabinet, as we call them. And so, they overreacted to this statement. We all have agreed here that the statement was irresponsible, it was unpatriotic, but it doesn't rise to the level of being treasonous. It was in the treason, as far as we can tell. And so the fact that they even went after him this way, putting up, I think it's just irresponsible on their part and overblown and overreact. They overreacted, but again, because of some of the things he said, it's almost like you ask somebody, say, who enters my house? And he goes, oh, I didn't steal anything. They were not asking who stole anything. They said, who entered my house? So just because he said, I wish you guys to fail, and now you want to just grab him and kind of grind him for saying that. It just goes to speak to where we are as a government and where we are as a ruling party. I don't know if you guys follow the Liberian social network. There is now a significant shift of the electorate that are saying we are back. And when you ask them, they say, oh, our life was much better when we was here than what we have now. And so I wouldn't be surprised when CDC is making a real strong comeback. And it's only happening because of the failures of the Unity Party government. I mean, you start by going to the market women, the guys in the street. They will all tell you our lives were much better when CDC were in power than now. Now, in the layman term, yes. But when you really put the numbers and you put all the things that happened during weird time and now, you just see there is a continuation of failure upon failure upon failure for the Liberian people. But the lay people are calculating it on their daily lives, on their daily experience. Things have gotten harder. I mean, it's not as if things were good when George Weah was there. They just find that it's a little bit harder now than it was when George Weah was there. So, if anything, I think the government should be listening to these people and take a cue from there. Because look, people allow their partisan affiliations to overshadow their rational judgments. They don't see the feelings of this government simply because they belong to the party. But I mean, I was saying to myself, whether Edwin Snowe say it or not, Joseph Walker can physically, mentally serve under one term. I mean, that's obvious. We can see that. So it doesn't. He doesn't need Edwin Snowe to say that, whether he wants him to succeed. As irresponsible as that statement was, it's a fact to see that. I don't see any way for Joseph Walker serving second term because of his age and because of all the things that he has to deal with. So, but for the government to go out of their way and respond in the manner in which they did, I thought it was just overblown. And again, it's just another distraction from people to focus or see their shortcomings and their misrule.
Thank you. Let's go to the Honorable Eastman. Liberia, according to the news, Liberia paid $1.4 million for used military equipment from ECOWAS, while the people are dying from hunger and poverty in Liberia. Was this money well spent? Who is advising this president?
The saga continues. Okay, now again, the machinery reportedly was a donation. I think it's coming from Cameroon, if I'm not mistaken. And the first question I will ask, I don't just like to accept free things. Me and Mr. Towell got some similar. I don't like all kind of free things. Do I need it? Do we need military vehicles like that in that quantity? You know, and if we do, then it might I might open up to considering the donation. Whatever donation usually has strings attached, so I'm going to examine the terms of that agreement and what is expected from Liberia in return. Now, 1 point some more million, I don't know how many vehicles. I think they said what, 40.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot to pay just to transport a few vehicles to me, in my impression, from Cameroon to Liberia. But my thing is, I don't know if we need it. Do we have the logistics to maintain those vehicles? Is it in the budget? You see, there's the other thing we do. We have a projected budget that's supposed to guide how we spend money and how we operate and where we invest. But it seems that these things come out of the blue, unrelated to the budget, and we simply jump on it. And if it's not, if there's not an appropriation to maintain or to support that expenditure and that operation, I call the whole thing an operation, where you have to deploy those things, assign personnel, train, and the whole operation. If we're not prepared to do that, it's a false move, you know. So what's going to happen to those vehicles? We've seen vehicles come to Liberia before, and we know they end up in the graveyard. Yes, they do. So what is the plan for these vehicles? Again, we have to plan, and just doing things willy-nilly will not develop our country. I wanted this administration to come up with a 50-year plan to move Liberia from where it is economically, socially, and infrastructure to where we want to be in 50 years. And then after we designated where we want to be, then we show what objectives we need to go to get there, and we work toward it, successive administration after the other, until we get there. But we're not coming up with a game plan, and we're just arbitrarily, coming up with schemes and plan that it's not comprehensive, and it will not be sustainable. We have to come up with a comprehensive plan to get Liberia from poverty to wealth.
Mr. Towell, $1.4 million to ship used equipment to Liberia, military equipment. Why? We have no money for hospitals, for schools, for meal. $1.4 million.
Yeah. So look at what happened here. I followed John McAfee in Tanzania very well before, and this is what he did when he came to power. Tanzania was in so much debt, always crediting from IMF and World Bank. Tanzania has signed some, because I'm building something here, they have signed some concessions. And when he came, the country didn't have any money. And then he looked and he said 2 areas that he took complete control of. You know what those were? Concessions, which include purchases and everything else, and foreign travel. Within the 5 years, they didn't take a single loan from IMF and World Bank when he took over those areas. He controlled it directly in his office. In short, what I'm saying here is when you hear yellow machine, when you hear this equipment, those are all concessions in one way or another, or purchases, right? There is always corruption around it. So for them to tell you that from Cameroon that is just next door into Monrovia, that almost $1.5 million to transport something. Which ship did they transport it on? So, but you see, this is what I'm saying here. So when you see the Snowe fighting, when you see the Boyka fighting, when you see the Fonati Kofa fighting, they're all fighting for this. Is it actually coincident that every time they take a step, every step they take is against the interests of the country and the people? And why? Because nothing happens. But let me say this. In every donation, like Mr. Eastman said, what they're not telling you is those 40 pieces of equipment. You just look at the 1.4 million. You don't even know what they are giving up. Whether the donation come from IMF, whether it come from China, whether it's come from Russia, it's never free. So let us know that. And one game that they play, if you hear other countries, they will say, anytime Liberia from Ellington, because the thing started in honor Elling, World Bank gave Liberia 10 million towards budget support. World Bank gave Liberia 40 million. Which bank do you know that just gave him money? But you see, they place it in a way. Then everybody's happy. Yeah, World Bank is giving us money, supporting budget, supporting development, supporting this. Then when Ellen got out of power, you find it over $1 billion then. But wait, I thought World Bank was giving all this money. But this is where we are. Gentlemen, we have this system need to be overthrown. It need to be subverted, it need to be dissolved. It doesn't work. It was never meant to work for you. We come here, we say we want the democracy. Then we'll go ahead and take Burkina Faso and then want to use the example of the progress in Burkina Faso. What he's doing is completely opposite what the democracy requires. I saw on this FOL stuff, they're posting people there that point out, they're posting Thomas Sankara, they're posting Lumumba and all these people. And then they're supposed to mean something. No, they don't mean anything. What all those people fought for was completely opposite. They were trying to overthrow this very system. They knew Chroma because they knew it don't work. This was the neo-colonial system that was put in place to control you. How long does it take before we really see this? We're not going anywhere. I keep hearing tenet of democracy. No, corruption is a tenet of democracy. Okay? Corruption. Because the very democratic process is beginning in a corrupt way. You have to go and raise money and they've got to donate. You think if people are donating money to your campaign, what is happening? These are investors. This thing is so simple and it's plain. What don't we see? That this is why I say I'm getting frustrated, because we have to recognize this stuff. The problem that we're having is from this very foundation. Let us recognize this. And look, let me just make this point so I can land. When I came here and I said I'm getting frustrated when I achieve, I'm not saying the whole FOL, because FOL is a collection of different platforms, not the FOL itself. I'm talking about our show, or it can be Friday Night Debate, or it can be Tough Talking Thursday. But one of these shows have to be taken to where we establish a baseline to say, look, this is what our problem really is. Then how do we solve it? And we see all of the tentacles and elements of this neo-colonial system, and we can recognize it from anywhere, and we say, what, right here. And that is how we can start to uproot it. And then our discussion is not just going to be mere gossip, that we just have interest that Edwin Snowe said this, Opon said it, Boyka said this. We're going to be moving towards something. We're not in Liberia, but we can then lay out a clear policy decision that can start to deviate from this stuff. Believe it, the group from the diaspora are very influential. They're dominant in the country, in the political sphere, and in the policy environment. And then we can start shifting things. That is what I was saying.
Thank you. Mr. Dugle, according to the Army press release here, they are saying somebody need to be muted. We're hearing people in the background.
That's Nangwe. He's doing progressive stuff back there.
Or Jimmy, that Trump just shut him up. Mr. Dugle, here we are. The Army say the equipment, the military equipment they're getting from the AU is going to go towards reconnaissance, intelligence, surveillance against what they see as a threat to the nation. So who are they going to surveil?
That's the $1 million question, Mr. Gayman. You know, this is very disheartening to say the least. You know, a country that is almost 200 years old is going around begging for secondhand equipment to its military. It just goes to speak to the mindset of our leaders. You know, I heard Brother Tao talking about John Magufuli. The reason why every African leader should pay attention and really look into what John Magufuli did in Tanzania is all what he did. He did not borrow a penny to do it, because what he did was he was able to identify areas in the government where he felt there were waste, there were corruption, there were a lot of things that were done that should not have been done. And he was able to neutralize all of those things. And through that process, he was able to generate as much money as he needed to carry on some of his projects. So, you know, I don't know, I heard from somewhere, somebody was talking about Liberia. He said, Liberia is not poor. Liberia is just being poorly managed. That's all. Because all the things that we see in the government, all the things we see the government spend their money on, I don't know if there's any other country in the sub-region that spends more than 50% of its national budget on salary alone. I don't know. I don't know if there are other countries in the sub-region that does that besides Liberia. And even that salary that they spend the money on, I can tell you between 60 to 65% of the civil servant don't get paid on a monthly basis. They go 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, sometimes 4 months, sometimes 5 months without being paid. So in the interval, what happens with that money that they owe those people? What happened with that money? So 40 pieces of equipment, do we actually need those equipment? And if we do, can't we afford those equipment if we wanted to buy them? I don't want to believe that we can afford them financially. I don't think so. But it's not a priority. Instead, they will lash on anything and everything that is being offered to them. So I mean, now to get these 40 pieces of equipment into Liberia is now going to cost anywhere between $1 million to $1.5 million. Who knows if that figure is even accurate? I mean, that's the figure they are throwing out there, and who knows? So I don't trust anything, and I mean anything that comes from this government. So the armed forces can say all it's want, but I don't agree with the notion that we should be asking for, you know, secondhand equipment from the AU. Are we so? I mean, how big is the Liberian armed forces that we can't afford to finance them? How big is the Liberian armed forces? But again, Mr. Gayman, you have to look at this in the context of our nation and how our nation has been governed and the things that we have done and we are doing. Because look, I can tell you there are countries in Africa that produce military equipment on the continent, and I mean very good ones too. And bilaterally, through some of these bilateral relations, Liberia can acquire everything it needs. I can tell you, South Africa is one of those countries. South Africa does produce very good military equipment. So does Egypt. So does Nigeria. So there are many places where we can get these things in a way far more dignified than what we are now going through. 40 pieces being donated to us by AU. I mean, somebody said it was coming from Cameroon. Really? Have we become that desperate? Really? But again, it speaks to where we are and our mindset and what we mean to do for our government. I mean, for our people. So we can see how ill-equipped our national police is, how ill-equipped our military is, how ill-equipped our law enforcement agencies are, because they are not being prioritized in the budgeting. They are not being prioritized in the capacity building. So everything evolves around enriching themselves and enriching themselves only. So this is just another example of how these people don't care about Liberia.
Thank you. Mr. Namwe, usually when they talk about money laundering and theft, or we talk about capital flight, we talk about all of the illegal things. These are some of the ways they do it. According to the newspaper, the company on the other end have agreed and established the fact that they have received $1.4 million from the Liberian government. This is a government that says we can't find money. USAID is cutting. We don't have money. We got to do this. We got to do that. They were able to confirm within no time $1.4 million transfer to Cameroon. No accountability, no auditing, no nothing. The money has been, according to the newspaper, Front Page Africa, Cameroon, the company in Cameroon has confirmed receipt of $1.4 million from the Liberian government for equipment that the Liberian government said they need rapid response for surveillance and rapid response. Your take?
Well, I mean, yes, the concerns that you are raising, the financial implications of this arrangement. I'm not sure if this is even in the budget or if it is one of those off-budget expenditures. I don't know. But what I am also concerned about is this newfound fascination with security by this government. I don't understand it. I mean, when this president came in, we were all alarming over the fact that he seemed to be so exposed. He was all in the midst of the people hugging. We remember the incident at AME, I think it was graduation or something, where he was in the midst of the people and somebody came and almost choked him to death. So we were worried that this president, he was too, exposed. But now, over the past couple of months, the spending so much money on armored vehicles, why? Who's trying to kill the president? And now, we're talking about, outlaying $1.4 million, for what? I read up on the arrangement apparently for aerial, intelligence. What is it that we're looking for? I mean, I don't understand that. Plus, it's not even clear to me as to the 1.4 is the only hook we're on for this arrangement. I'm not quite sure if there's no other obligation that will come down the pipe, because according to the reporting, this is what, over $20 million. So that's a lot of equipment. Plus, I don't know. Some of these things may not even be functional. I mean, we're seeing these kinds of arrangements, where these people hand down, their non-functional equipment to, us, the, unsuspecting, unsophisticated, bunch, and they pass them on to us, and we happily receive them, only to find out that they cannot be used. So yeah, there are a lot of questions being raised about this, and I don't know. I honestly don't understand the urgency and the necessity for this current arrangement. I don't.
Well, you say who are they looking for? They're looking for Musa Bility and Edwin Snowe.
And Edwin Snowe, I guess.
But
and guess who's heading the search? Joe Tao is heading the search
Joe
party.
Tao is there, and you know where they are already, but you still get a surveillance. Okay, let's go to this here. This one is from ALCOP, and the headline, according to Front Page Africa, leadership crisis grips ALCOP as power struggle erupts between Chairman Dolly and businessman Fofana. And it reads, the All-Liberian Coalition Party, ALCOP, once seen as a symbol of political stability, is now embroiled in a deepening political and leadership crisis that threatens to fracture the party's structure and diminish its national relevance. At the heart of the turmoil is a bitter power struggle between ALCOP chairman Ansu V.S. Dolly and influential businessman Musa Fofi Fofana, a dispute that has evolved from strategic disagreement into an open contest for party leadership. Fofana, an emerging political force within ALCOP, is openly challenging Dolly's authority and positioning himself to take over the chairmanship ahead of the crucial 2029 election. What began as an internal disorder over the party's direction has spiraled into a full-blown battle that has unsettled the party's base, raised fears of a looming split. Chairman Dolly has also had the National Disaster Management Agency, NDMA, initially attempted to manage the crisis by inviting Fofana to a joint public appearance, an effort meant to signal unity. However, the move backfired, instead amplified Fofana's political visibility and emboldened his supporters. I don't want to say, let me go to Mr. Dukley first, because you with all respect, you the only Mandingo man on here. I don't want him to say he went to him first because he's Mandingo. So I will go to the Bassa man first, then I go to the Gribble man, then I go to the Bassa man, then I come to you.
But when I ALCOP that Mandingo man party? Now, wait
a minute now. So you're going to the Niji man first?
Yeah, we'll go to the Niji first.
I don't know about ALCOP that Mandingo man party.
Yes, and this is what I said it. It was founded by Ahaji Kroma, the former Minister of Information for Liberia. He became a warlord. He formed this political party. And the disappointment was this man was in charge of propaganda for the True We Party. How did he allow his political party to be branded, and he accepted it being the Mandingo People's Party? Now the two people that are fighting, they are two Mandingo boys fighting for basically the heart and soul of this party. And not only were they defined that way, but all the rallies have been done in their native tongue. Most of the time they have been done through their native tongue. So they accepted the fact that they are a Mandingo party. Go ahead.
Yeah, the late Alhaji Kumaya. I would just give a big brief. Alhaji was a regular, typical Monrovia Crowder boy. I've been knowing Alhaji when time I was in high school. Typically, he married one of our classmates, Clarice Simpson. I think what polarized somebody like Alhaji, because all the boys who were fighting with the John Richardson and whatnot, they all went to school together. I think what polarized them was the war. That war deepened the divide in Liberia, where people they started going after Mano and Gio. That's what the ruling Dole party was doing. Then when the rebels came, they started going after Crown and Mandingo. I don't know why Mandingo was cited, but I remember those people were fleeing the country. Day and night, they were running out of going to Sierra Leone. So the war had polarized us terribly. And that is why I said we need to be reconciled, to be one people. Because whether we want to accept it, a lot of people are harboring, I wouldn't call it tribalistic, but ideas of, separation, that these people different than me. And that's not totally true. You may have somebody of the same ethnicity, like me and Nambe, we all think of the same, but he's from Kipamas, I'm from the coast, other area.
Go for
But
you.
yeah,
For the Southeast. You've been running the country.
yeah. But what I thought, I think they do this whole party thing and the bickering over. I said, I don't know, Jerome. Let me talk to you directly. I found out why those people, if you want job in the people, what they're thinking. They're not thinking about what you can do for in the job. They're thinking about the money you would get paid. And that's all everybody. Everybody wanted money. They don't really care. So if you look at it, this whole party thing, are they fighting over who can bring the party up? Who can make the party better represented in the public so they will get the votes and the support they want? Or is it some kind of position where somebody would get money? I don't know the intricacies of the bickering in that party, but I can tell you it's unwholesome because if you had a common direction, you'll be working. You will put your selfish interests aside. So it's a pity to see them broken up. But if you keep together for the wrong reason, you're quick to break up fast, just like any marriage.
Great. Mr. Namwe, I'm getting a text here. They're accusing you. You are the Northeast Regional Chair of the CMC. This person says here, this is an attempt. The Musa ability is sowing seed of discord because he wants to be the king in the Mandingo community. So the breakup of ALCOP will make CMC the top dog in that community. This is what they're accusing your party of, that your PL, your political leader, is sowing discord here because he wants to run and be the top dog in the Mandingo community. And it went further to say, Mr. Gayman, you were at the speech that Musa Bility gave in London. You were sitting right behind him clapping. And he said here he wanted the Mandingos or his people to integrate. He wanted them to integrate, meaning they cannot form an exclusive club and vie for national opportunities. Your take, is this person wrong?
Yeah, I think they're reaching. Again, I will emphasize here, re-emphasize, this is a democracy, right? You know, you make your pitch to the people and they buy what you're selling. If they don't like what you're selling, they won't buy what you're selling. The speech that you ended with, you know, I didn't remember Asana with Musa, and he even said he cringed when we talked about that. I think it came out, didn't come out the way he had intended. He was saying exactly what you said, introduction of this party, that this party has boxed itself in as a Mandingo party. Why would you want to do that? So he was telling them to get out of the isolationist practices and join the mainstream. I think that's what he was talking about. And then he was talking about the magnanimity of the Mandingo people. He's a Mandingo man. He's married to a Christian woman. And he was saying, you know, Islam is so accepting that they still allow him, even while he's married to a Christian woman. And so that kind of magnanimity he thought could be used as an example that is used by the Muslim, you know, as an example to win over more souls in the mainstream community. But he was cautioning them about continuing to marginalize themselves. So that's how, you know, I think that's what he intended to say. Now, as to the ALCOP situation, when you put out the topics, I went up and took a look at this gentleman. Apparently, he's really bad news. This Dollar fellow, you know, I don't know for Fana who is trying to oust him. I don't think he's a part of the CMC. I doubt it. I never met him. But when you read up on this gentleman, this Dollar man who is running ALCOP, and Jimmy is right. GV Kurma was a very, very, you know, mainstream guy. But I think he became a little radicalized during the war. And maybe, you know, it served him right, because eventually he fought his way onto the Council of State. He became one of the power sharing, you know, leaders in Liberia as Representative Yuli Moke, you know. So, but this guy who is running the current chairman now, there were a lot of allegations being levied against him of unilateral decisions, misappropriation, you know, not transparent. Some of the things they accuse him of were donated by Musa Belete, of course, you know, a generator that he donated. But they're talking about a homo, you know, other things that he seemed to have converted to his water selling business. It was just really nasty. Then there's that with the party, and then you go to his former occupation as a government operator. There are also concerns of accountability at the National Disaster Management Agency that he's running. You know, some $58,000 or so, you know, out of an expenditure of 1.4 million that he made. So, you know, it seems that like he's really he is, you know, he has a serious credibility problem, and I think that's why they're trying to oust him. Now, as to whether this is going to give Musa an opening, you know, to replace, you know, the economy. I mean, I wish he did. I mean, this is politics about numbers, you know. And the Madingo people, last time I checked, I think they're over 400,000 voting registered Muslim people. Now Madingo are Muslim people. And so if this is a Madingo party, I think chances are that it caters to a majority of Muslims. You know, yeah, we'll try to bring our brothers and sisters into the mainstream. In the meantime, if we can win their vote, I think it will be a plus in the column of the CMC. So that person who is accusing the CMC of engineering this, I think they are the head of themselves. But if we will benefit from that, you know, you know, God help us. We're not going to shy away from that. Right now, we're looking for votes from all over, including that person who sent you the text. I hope, you know, right now the thing we're working on. I'm sorry.
Before you land, he says this. He says it's you say when you said they are reaching.
Yeah.
He says it is the connection is easy. Honorable Musa Belete in Manchester was talking about reforming, integration, and assimilation. And then here is Mr. Fofana coming about reformist agenda to reform the party totally. So they are making the connection that, listen, you were just in Manchester talking about assimilation. You're talking about all of the great stuff, reforming our ideas. And here we are, a young man coming up and saying, we need to reform this party. We need to reform this party. We need to integrate. We need to bring more people on outside of our community. So they are making the connection. Is it that too far of a reach?
I think the connection here is that it's smart politics. I think that is the connection. I think Fofana, whoever he is, he's smart enough to realize what Musa was trying to talk about in Manchester. Because look, how can you want to play with the big boys and big girls and you isolate yourself? You go and sit down in the corner on the playground. How is that going to help you? So I think he's telling them, which I think Fofana is also saying, get out of the corner, come in the mainstream, and let's socialize and be a part of the mainstream. I think that's smart. So I think that's a coincidence to say that Musa may be inspiring this division so that he can take over. I think that's a reach. I think he's reaching there, but I hope this is not Tao who is texting you while we're on the set.
I think it's Douglas. Mr. Douglas, let me speak after you here. Here we are. We are talking about a political party. The gentleman now who is running he sees himself as the owner or the heir apparent. I think Lucini Donzo or something like that. His name is. They come from the school of thought. Our numbers are too small to compete with the general public, so we stick together as one group, and then at the end we support a candidate. We negotiate and we get our share, and then we share it among ourselves. Our goal is not to get national power because we won't get it, but we stick together as ALCOP, and then we got our 2 or 3%. We put somebody over the top. We negotiate for a few positions. We get our job. We do better that way than going for the main thing, and then we get zero. For him, it's a zero-sum game. There are two tactics. There are two tactics. There are two schools of thoughts. Musability, integration, assimilation. Again, Lasuni say, you know what? We get more strength by staying in our little corner, and then our 3%, we put somebody over the top, and then we get 5 jobs, then we spray them more. So we're talking about a guy who said we cannot win the presidency. So why go out there? But if we stick together, we put somebody over the top, like we did Joseph Boyka. Then we tell Joseph Boyka, we put you over the top, give us 10 positions.
But the analytics don't bear that position out when you.
They are politicians. That's what they sell. That's what they sell. And it's like the puffer fish, right? In the ocean, when he sees the enemy, he makes himself bigger, which he's not. He's just a little thing, but he blows himself up, and the enemy runs. And wow, that's a big fish. Same thing here. ALCOP doesn't have the number, so what you do is you scare the other guy and say, you know what, this thing will go either way when we put our 400,000 people behind that, no number, but just throw it out there, and they have been succeeding. So why should they follow someone like Musa's ability to assimilate and be that when this is working?
But that's the point I'm making, Jerome. I hate the butting, but the analytics are that they're not succeeding. They are diminishing in their chances. When GV Krama launched this thing, they captured about 4.7% of the vote, and they had, I think, 3 or 4 seats in the House, and I think 2 seats in the Senate. The next time around, they began to dwindle and diminish. When GV Krama left the scene, Lucini Donso, I believe, took over, and whatever it was later on. Right now, this going election, they have absolutely no representation in government. They did not win any seats, and that's because of the increasing isolationist practices that these successors have adopted. So I don't think this strategy is helping them.
Cool. Mr. Dukley, there's 2 schools of thoughts. Your take?
I think some of my fellow panelists here they are not doing justice to this ALCOP situation here. Remember, during the just ended election in Liberia, there were close to 20 political parties. And among those parties, how many parties came through in the second round? So if you want to crack the numbers, in comparison, I think ALCOP did well, better than most of them. And here on this particular platform, we are peddling the same notion that people have about ALCOP, to say it's a Madingo party. And ALCOP is not any different from the MDC, let's say Prince Johnson's party, where almost everybody there was from Nima County or Guillaumont, whatever you want to call them. So, but because in Liberia, since I remember, there's always this tribalism thing that people, particularly when it comes to Madingo people, whenever you mention anything Madingo, then there is this flavor of commentary, saying this is a Madingo party because just because it was founded by GV. I just heard Jimmy said GV was a mainstream guy. Who told you that Lucini is not a mainstream guy, or Dollar is not a mainstream guy? They all are. But because people always focus on this tribal lens, and that limits their ability to see beyond the individual person and what he or she does. And so ALCOP is not any different from any of the political parties that ran during the election, where some of them, prior election they got 2.22%, and at this going election got nothing. That's not unique to ALCOP if you look at the numbers. And so if you characterize them that way, it's a misread. What you're seeing, what you're looking at here, this is all gearing towards 2029. And so it has led to this power struggle between Ansu Dola, who is president, the chairman, and then Musa Fusi Fofana, who is a businessman The thing is, like I was telling you guys earlier, it's like any party. It just happened to be, because Mandingo people gravitated towards ALCOP, just like any other party. People in Liberia, in Africa in general, people politics based on their affiliation, ethnic affiliation, religious affiliation. Why not? And so this is not any different. It's just that tribal sentiment that most other Liberians have towards Mandingo people, they will always characterize it in that way, even if it is not that way. Because if you look at the history of other political parties, take Liberty Party for example. People were characterizing it to be Bassa People Party. Was that what it was in reality? I don't think so. But there were a lot of people, influential people who were in the party who were from Grand Bassa County, who were Bassa people. So this is how we politic. This is how we look at things. But when it comes to the tribe Mandingo, there is extra layer of sentiment towards Mandingo people in Liberia. I mean, it wasn't long ago when we heard Prophet Key saying that one of the reasons why people didn't vote for Musa Belete to be speaker is because when you give Mandingo people an inch, they will ask for a yard, etc., and all the nonsense that we see people spewing on social media and other places. So this is all part of it. But in practical sense, this is just a common power struggle between two individuals who are looking beyond the present moment. They're all gearing up for 2029. And so, like Jay Nangwe said earlier, Ansu Dole has ruffled a lot of feathers, and now this Fofana guy is coming with his money, trying to buy influence so that he can position himself come 2029. So I guess you can say he represents the progressive wing of the party, where people are talking about, maybe bringing in more people from the mainstream, if you want to call it that. I mean, I don't like to use that term mainstream. They're all mainstream. It's just that, people like to look at the mainstream based on ethnic affiliation. And so, I think if I will have to speculate here, I think Dollar might end up losing this fight simply because the forces that are calling for the other side, which is Fofana's side, they seem to be gaining momentum as far as I can tell. And usually there was the last election before this one when Mr. Cannon lost his seat, and people attributed that to the infighting that the party had, and as a result, it cost them that one seat that they had. So this is not new in the party. There has always been infighting. People have been, positioning themselves to always undercut each other. And so, despite what we said here, despite what people say, and I'm just saying this to back up my point here. We have agreed here that just Prince, Alhaji Kurma was a mainstream guy. But what did he accomplish being a mainstream guy? He was always viewed with that ethnic lens. There were a lot of people who said, I wouldn't vote for a Mandingo man, despite his wife was non-Mandingo, non-Muslim person. I believe, I don't know if she was a Congo woman or not, but all of that, how much more mainstream can you be? And yet, despite all his qualifications, if you have to consider qualifications, he was probably the most qualified candidate on that list. But what did he gain? What did that do for him? There were people who were voting against him simply because he was a Mandingo, not because of any other reason for which they wouldn't vote for him, but only because he was a Mandingo, and maybe because he was a Muslim. And so we should always not forget that. That's always present in everything we do and say in our politics.
A point of information here. Could you also say that people were voting for him solely because he was Mandingo and Muslim.
I mean, yes, you would say there was a segment of people who did that. Yes, I mean, that's not in dispute, because and probably that was one of the reasons that gave birth to ALCOP to begin with.
Thank you. Mr. Taiwo, we have a political party that stood out. I know he tried to compare that with a Liberty Party as a Bassa People Party, but not once did the Liberty Party had a rally in Bassa, and the language spoken was in Bassa, and everything was done with the Bassa tradition, language, and everything else. So I find that to be a little disingenuous here. But your take on this fight in this party and the two ideologies, the conservative and then the emerging reformist part of the party that wants to integrate, they want to assimilate, they want to be part of the bigger pie.
Okay. So this is what I would say. Whether somebody speak in the language or in any other language, all the parties are formed along some kind of tribal line. The largest, if a Gill man form a party, the largest group in a party will be Gill people.
Absolutely.
If a Mandingo man form a party, the largest group will be Mandingo. I don't think what they really communicating, what difference does it make? We speak in English. Is that our language? It's foreign to us. This is what I would say in this. Like everybody else said, this is just power struggle between a group of people trying to see if they can get their hand on the power so they can loot from the Liberian people also. But this is what I would actually say. In Liberia, this is what democracy really is. We keep mentioning this tribal stuff, and guys, let us pay attention to this. Let us be honest with ourselves. Look at Liberia, where there was the tribal sentiment in terms of to draw all the tribal line. It did not exist until we really encountered the West or Western concepts. Mandingo people were trading everywhere. Crew people, Gill people, were trading among ourselves and interacting. They created these fault lines. When we keep talking about the war, it was never a tribal war. This was a Western conceptual political war. But what happened is the people that intended to take over state power rallied the tribal group out of which they came from. So what came first is this? So the electoral politics show me how many people died in the election based on tribal politics. To say tribe, no, people were killed along political line. In Nimba, in just this new election in Lofa and in Monrovia, and all these places, we have to recognize this, because these are some of the things I'm saying. If we recognize this thing in the real elements, because each time we go after the things that actually belong to us, and where there is no division, we even open it up. There is no real tribal stuff in the sense that we are at each other's throat. It is this Western concept that is run on divide and rule through these political systems. When you have to campaign as a Bassa man, then you try to rally your Bassa base to serve your Western political structure. Then you call on the Bassa people. And this is so the tribal stuff come, not out of some hatred for somebody else, but so we have to, the political system here. Can you guys see how chaotic it is? Because I don't know what is there for us to praise. That is the democracy, that is democratic. No, it is divisive. It is chaotic. It is corrupt. This is what we are seeing. One guy just come with money. He has done nothing for him to prove that he is capable of leading anything. But he just come with money. Western democracy is a business. It's business. But to end this, they mentioned the other guy that is there. I don't know their names, but that he was at environmental agency. There was some money that came out missing. He had questionable character. And I hear his name and Musa Ability, and I hear name and Musa Ability name in the same area. I said Musa Ability and say character is not questionable. Everywhere he went, corruption claims were there. And Labro is so weak that they can't do anything, that they had to clip his wing at FIFA. And that is it. Then we turn around and we want to say, well, because they want to be against a black man.
Can you elaborate on that, please, Mr. Tower? Can you elaborate on that, please? When you say Musa Ability,
shut him down, he was banned for 10 years. Yeah, he was shut down, banned. And he went to the court of arbitration. That's a court, and he was found guilty. I followed the case. Look, man, I even had a cousin that was on the executive committee with them. All the development, why you think Lone Star, Labrador don't have any development fund and everything. They were sharing the money. So, but look, that is beside the point. The point here is we come here every day to try to make sense of something that was given to us that was never intended to work. We keep going after tribalism. Tribalism is really not the problem. It's the political system that tried to exacerbate the tribal sentiment that don't really exist, not in that manner. The Bassa man and the Gribble man and the crew man, we are all like one. All of a sudden, when a crew man wake up and he want to run for election, then Bassa man like myself, I will come in there when I see that Nangbe have a better message and he could beat me. What I do, I run to the tribal line and using the political system to exacerbate and create that wedge. We have to see that and we have to point it out. And they need to stop.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We've been here a while. I tell you,
We all are.
we all Liberian gentlemen. Let's do our closing. All Liberians. Mr. Eastman, you the diplomat here. We wait to close on that note. We are all Liberian start. Let we do our closing so we can go to our very Liberian stuff.
Yeah, one of the things Mr. Tao said is somewhat true, but I still say we need to bring ourselves to, when you have a common purpose, when you're working toward the same goal, when you agree that to the same terms, then you're easier to be closer together. There are people who harbor their differences simply based on politics. I mean, not even politics, but tribe. And it's those things we want to dispel. We want to say, look, this man is a good man or a bad man, regardless of where people hail from. And we will get there, but the more we do things together and the more we have a united goal, the more we play by certain rules and agree to stick to it, that's how we will get there. That's exactly how we get there. I do agree that Mandingo people have been targeted in Liberia of all tribes. I talked to, I don't want to say the name yet because y'all been calling his name whole day today. I talked to him. He said, my man, a Peleman can come from Guinea.
Yes.
Yeah? And he was settle in Liberia when I do it. I get out man hot and say foreigner, a Peleman. Yeah. But let it be a Mandingo man. It would be a whole different matter. So it is true. And we have to realize this reality and fight against it. Then we will realize a single goal, a united goal. I'll leave it there.
Thank you. Mr. Taiwo, you're closing.
Yes, guys, it was a good show. Thanks very much to my fellow panelists and to our viewing audience. I will leave everything. I will close on this. When this show started, my brother Nangwe said that I come here, I talk about the diaspora, I'm here. And then this has actually been something. But look, let us be honest here. If Liberia was a real country that really organized and running, the people from the diaspora we look at a very, very, very strong lens. All of Liberia problems originate from out of the diaspora, of which me and you were victims of in Liberia. Mr. Nangwe, you're not even in the position for you to speak for the so-called progressives. My uncle, that is almost 70 years old, is older than you, and he was just an errand boy for due missing them and tipoted them in Moja. So you are much younger than him. So when the movement was taking place, You have to be much, much younger. So you don't even know what the mission statement and what the position really was. You are just a little foot soldier, just like my brother Gayman and everybody else. But because we heard something, the group that brought the coup, where did they come from? They came from out of the diaspora that disrupted. We're not saying whether they come up with never being power or not, but a group that came in who did themselves. They didn't have any clear vision on where they want to take the country. They could not even agree among themselves for them to come together if they really felt that the Congo people were in power and doing all this stuff, and they wanted to come and help the people. When they came there, they were egotistic, they were self-centered, they started fighting among themselves. Every time Sawyer speaking, they want speaking, Barker speaking, you have to hold dictionary. This is the misguided stuff that they had. Whether their intentions were good, we are looking at the outcome. Then we went through that. The group that brought the war, where did they come from? The war that me and you struggle from, most of us died from, that have me and you here today. They came from the diaspora. The war that we are suffering on today. So where did they come from? From the diaspora. And when they came, what was their real intention? To enrich themselves? Personal gain. Not to deliver the country and take it anywhere. Then when they sponsored the war and everything, when the country broke completely down 2005, the group that took over that set the present policies in place, high salaries, corruption, bogus concession, where did they come from? From the United States. So when the people in Liberia get upset that they're dying and they're struggling, and when they want to say something, then we have to threaten them. We send $700 million to Liberia that is equal to the budget. So then we are responsible for the problem. Then when we give some assistance to the suffering, then we turn around and hold it over their head. Come on, Mr. Namwe, you are affiliated with EULA. The organization that you affiliate with have very bad reputation when it comes to Liberia. The group that went with the coup came from out of that organization. The group that brought the war came from out of that organization. The organization has never done anything useful for Liberia that is positive. So now that you find yourself in that organization, I would at least wish that you look at the record of that organization, try to transform it to see how you can help where their image and their function, their behavior toward Liberia will be a little bit more positive. That when they engage, but it shouldn't be that when they come up, we just want to nobody hate diasporans. But if you are going to Liberia from the diaspora to work in government, you should be capable and you should be competent and you should produce. And if you don't, organizations like you are supposed to call them out and actually make sure that they're prosecuted when they run back here. This is the statement I've been making. I can't be, not because I'm here, or for certain I should support that. We have to, everything I'm saying here, I'm not making it up, the evidence is there. That is why we sit here and we discuss.
Thank you. Mr. Dukley.
Yes, Mr. Gayman.
You're closing, 2 minutes.
Well, I just want to say thank you, Mr. Gayman, and thank you to my fellow panelists. I think we had a very good and spirited discussion today. Like anything else, these things are meant to share our views and ideas, so that others can listen, learn, But, what we saw in Edwin Snowe and the government and all the things we talk about today, it doesn't really change much for the ordinary folks on the ground, like Brother Tawa was just saying. And I think everything we do here should be geared towards improving things back home. But I would just like to push back here on one thing Brother Tawa said about EULA. I think the dual citizenship thing, if anything, I think EULA should be credited for that. That's something positive. EULA has done some positive things that I'm aware of. The dual citizenship thing is one of those that I can think of right on top of my head. And so, yes, maybe they might need some reform in certain area, but I think they have done some good thing. Yes, some bad things have come from people who were part of EULA. I don't think it can be attributed to EULA as an organization, but I mean, individual who were once associated or affiliated with EULA. But you cannot blanketly, accuse or malign EULA for that, and yeah, maybe they can do better, or they should do better. But I think as an organization, they have done some good things that have benefited Liberia. And like I said, right on top of my head, I can just think of the Dual Citizenship Act that was enacted not too long ago. So I hope that we can sharpen our critical lenses when we speak, because I don't think we should underestimate what we do here on this platform, because it is having an impact. If it's not in Liberia directly, but in the Liberian community, in the diaspora as well. So, Mr. Gayman, I just want to say thank you to everybody again, and to our listener for giving us this opportunity to share our thoughts and idea with them tonight.
Thank you. Honorable Namwe?
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you guys. Great show tonight. Thanks also to the audience that I think they've been very engaged tonight. So let me speak to a few things. I'll try to be brief. First of all, Mr. Tao accused Musa Belete of action that he has absolutely no proof of. Musa was never accorded due process. FIFA is not a court. They have arbitration committee. They're not a court. They are just a grievance committee. They didn't take him to court. Musa was snowballed because of the racism in FIFA. That's why he raised. He supported a candidate from Cameroon. He supported a candidate from the Ivory Coast. He was on a plane when the decision was made. He was banned. FIFA is not the most stellar organization. Go and see what happened to Sepp Blatter and Michel Platini. Go and read up on them. So you don't come tell me here about FIFA and all of that. If you want to talk about someone's character here, I think you know better. You got to bring your facts, bring your proof. So your assertion there is wrong. It's faulty. 2, I don't know who your uncle is and what his role it was in the progressive community, but there are people who are still alive who started the Progressive Alliance of Liberia. Deacon Kala, I just talked to him this morning. He's right in New York. Blamo Nelson is in Monrovia. Michael George is in Monrovia. Edward Fowler is in Monrovia. These are people we sat down in board conference room with Gabriel Matthews. We debated actions and decisions to be taken. Yeah, I mean, I grew up as a young fellow. Yeah, I was an errand boy, but I grew up and to the point where I sat down in the conference room with 2 decisions, and that was the kind of person Gabriel Matthews was. So don't sit down here and tell me I was an errand boy. You don't know me. You know nothing about me. Absolutely nothing. You don't know me. You don't know how I grew up, where I grew up, what my circumstances were. So don't sit down here and try to define who I am. If you want to talk about your uncle, you can go ahead and talk about him because you know your uncle and you know what role he played in the progressive movement. If he was an errand boy, that doesn't mean everybody his age was an errand boy. I was not an errand boy. I grew up and I held position in the United People's Party, several executive positions. I and Milton Teja published the last UPP Times. That was my major assignment. We edited the UPP Times, Savannah Press. So don't sit down here and tell me what you know nothing about. You know nothing about what you talk. You talk about the diaspora. You sit down here and you wallow in your self-misery and hate. I'm not going to go down there with you. EULA has its faults. I've always said it here, but I said to you and all of us here, we have a responsibility to come here and help and fix, be the change that you want to see. You come here every time you criticize and over. Come and help if you want to help. But I can't sit here and tell me every problem in Liberia comes from the diaspora. That is wrong. It is wrong. There are people right now in Liberia who did not come from the diaspora, who are in the government. The problems in the government, I always tell you, partly, yes, diasporans are at fault, but there are also our locals who are also at fault. I tell you, whenever you say that, you should also mention the other part, but you refuse to do that. And I keep telling you what you're doing is dangerous because right now there is a wedge that is being driven between those of us here in the diaspora and our compatriots at home because of assertions by people like you, which is unfounded, it's baseless. You're spreading false rumors. You have absolutely no proof to back up most of what you say. And I'm very disappointed that you continue to come here and sit here and spew unfounded allegations about things you know nothing about. You're an engineer. I pride you for that. You're a very intelligent man, but you got to really check your facts. Thank you very much for the show.
Mr. Tower, it behooves me to give you at least 1 minute.
Why not have evidence?
No,
How
listen.
do I have evidence?
You got 1 minute.
Wasn't the group that from America, from the diaspora, one of the architect behind the wall? Isn't that evident enough? The coup, weren't the people from the diaspora? The one that actually organized, you're talking about Deacon Carl and all these people, but it was backers them from here. You see, it doesn't matter what it's 4 or 5 people, even from the diaspora.
So Backers Matthew left the United States in 1975. The coup happened in 1980. That's 5 years. How could he have sponsored the coup from here to take it back?
No, not sponsor. They come in with the agitation. Okay, let's put that now. Let's take from 2005 when everything broke down. I was here and I went to Liberia. Almost 90% of the entire policy decision making, the structure that we have now, set by diasporans.
That is false.
Who have no interest in the country. They went there and it keep happening. We have to point that out.
True, Mr. Tao.
The fact that there was one guy in Liberia that he did something also that he's corrupt, that doesn't exempt. The point here is that we come from the diaspora. We are saying that we come from countries that are organized and how to do things. We understand how to run a nation. When we go there, let us be the example. So that if we fail, or the group of us that fail, here's what? We have to hold them responsible. I don't care about the guy that's in Liberia, Mr. Nangwe. If the group coming from out of the diaspora that are going to work in government, not the people going to do their own business or their farm also, if they actually were serious and they were focused and they was the real people, just few of them can create a major. The people in Liberia look up to us. When we get there, we set the tone and they follow. We fail at that, and we have to admit. Mr. Dr. Dukley talked about the dual citizen bill. How does that help Liberia? It's a diasporan group that want to have access. Okay, it helped the diaspora. How does that really help the country?
So let me give you a little fun fact.
That's the kind of stuff
I know we got to get off the air.
Okay, guys, we got to go.
But let me give you a little fun fact. If you look at the rate of people who have been elected into Congress, the legislature, which is the biggest problem you have in Liberia, the number of people who have been elected from the diaspora, they're less than 1%. Most of the people in the House of Representatives and the Senate, they're all local people. And these are the guys who manage the budget, who take all of the fluff and put it in their budget, whatever it is, not from the diaspora. I keep on telling you that, but you keep saying
thank you, guys. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for a great show. Now, let me close on this. Mr. Dukley, the problem that we have about the sectionalism, the tribalism, we all know that tribalism is an urban myth. It's an urban affair, because when you go to Grand Bassa County, you go to Nimba, you go to Bon County, when a total stranger gets into a village, the people will give you food, they will accept you before they even ask you where you come from. So we know it is now when you come into the urban area, you go look for a job, you go look for anything, they want to know which tribe you come from. So that is a political invention to put people in certain groups. Okay, it's a when you go to Bassa, I know that we got grew up in the interior. We have minor people, Geo people come. People can't speak the language when they come in. It is incumbent, traditional, that you're strangers. Nobody goes into your town thirsty, leave hungry, and you don't take care. Even if they need somewhere to sleep, you will get them somewhere to sleep. That's how it is. Yes. Until you get into the urban area, then you start and all of that. So that one is an urban thing. And finally, let me talk about the Mandingo Muslim thing. The biggest problem that that particular group is facing in Liberia is the inequality and the unreasonableness of some of the things that they are trying to do, and they want to shroud it in religion, which is, we can marry your girls, your wife, your children, but you cannot marry to any of our folks. That is the big elephant nobody wants to talk about. The folks want to modernize everything else, but they are saying there will be no way that a Bassa man will marry a Muslim woman. There is no way a Pele man will marry, but a Muslim man can marry all of these women, but you would never. This is the issue that you have to address. Until that issue is addressed, you will always have this discrepancy between these people, because it's not only the Bassa people saying it, the Gil people saying it, the VAR people saying it, the Congo people saying it, the Crew people saying it, everybody's saying it. So if you guys, let's say 16 tribes in the country, and 15 saying you are wrong, and you say all 15 are wrong, I'm the only person who's right, then something is intrinsically wrong. Until they can address that issue, we are always going to look at these people differently, and that's just the fact. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, we are all Liberians. Let's do this again next Sunday.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberia.